Good or good morning out there. I think it's afternoon almost everywhere right now. I hope everyone's doing good. Go ahead and set this up here. Got a little bit of dog that's being a little emotional. She almost attacked someone earlier, so I'm gonna keep her inside and have her relax. All right, how's everyone doing out there? We had a lot of hubbub over this Captain Marvel movie, and of course, it outperformed expectations with nearly every Marvel movie except for the Ant-Man films. Not necessarily a fan of what they're doing in terms of quality, but what they're doing in terms of selling tickets is sure is pretty amazing. Opened around 450 million worldwide, and yet idiots like John Campea out there are still saying that it's going to top off around 600 to 700. He's now adjusting that and saying 800 to 900, and then he'll adjust that once it passes a billion and say, "Oh, I was not the only one that was wrong." So all you Campea heads out there, go ahead and tune to this channel to get the real deal. I do give that guy credit, man. He can just talk and talk and talk on here. He has the internet in front of him though, so he's not smart enough. He can go ahead and punch something in and act like he's smarter. But a lot of movie talk going on, a lot of discussion. This should definitely, the performance of Captain Marvel should greenlight Katana. Expect to see Black Widow greenlit. Expect to see other films with female lead characters greenlit. And maybe, just maybe, DC is going to circle back and see how they can get Cyborg to get, proper representation in the DC films. But that's all not really something that interests me. It is quote unquote movie talk. So we're getting that movie out of that way. And just want to see if anyone's seen the movie. Go ahead and tell me what you think in the comment section. Is there anything to it about it being against the white male? Anything like that? And yeah, looking forward to seeing what else happens. I gotta say, I'd be shocked. I've heard that the directing is not a strength of the movie. I'd be shocked if Ryan Fleck and Anne Boden, I think that's how you say their names, if they return. I think they'll probably go back to the independent world or make something else. They're the filmmakers of Half Nelson and Blue Valentine, I do believe. So expect to see them get some prestige picture greenlit as a result of this movie. I got a dog that's a little cuckoo here, so I'm gonna maybe go get her walking. I don't know. She's acting a little cuckoo. I don't want to go back outside. I was outside for several hours today already. So I'm gonna eat a little bit, but I wanted to talk about Blank from Hell thrillers. Blank from Hell thrillers. I've been developing a lot of content towards that end, so I'll be having some more commentaries about these Blank from Hell thrillers. And maybe have Bob Rafelson on, who kind of got the genre started. People often give Fatal Attraction oh yeah, that's the movie that started all the Blank from Hell thrillers. Well, I think there were many before that, and even many before Black Widow. But the strength of how Black Widow was put together is basically a wife from hell, or someone that's marrying for money from hell. That then became the Glenn Close model of the person that you have an affair with from hell. Then it went from there. I mean, there's the best friend from hell, such as like True Colors. There's the nanny from hell, one of my favorites, in The Hand That Rocks the Cradle. And then there's the temp from hell, a movie called The Temp. There's the cop protector from hell, Unlawful Entry. There are so many of these films. There's the doting father from hell in Raising Cain. I consider that one of them, even though it's somewhat of a comedy thriller or mixes genres together. In Ghosts, to some extent, you have the trusted stockbroker friend from hell. In Basic Instinct, you have the fiction writer from hell that you're dating. All these are taking similar or relationships that you'd have not an expectation of them being hellish, and then they turn hellish. So that's always interesting, in a film. blank from hell thrillers. I don't really know how they got so powerful and how they got so good, but one of them is The Husband from Hell, A Kiss Before Dying. And that was a late noir of the 50s starring Robert Wagner, and was remade very effectively starring Sean Young and Matt Dillon. In my opinion, most people don't like the film, but I find it to be really well done, despite the fact that Sean Young is an absolute nut in real life. And a friend of mine, but a nut. And we speak here and there. We don't speak as much as we used to. But I'm hoping that she's doing well, and hope to have her maybe do an interview or something on the channel if she ever kind of gets control of herself, I guess. So let that be out there as motivation for her. There's Guilty as Sin, who I believe in that one, it's basically Don Johnson is the client from hell. So everyone out there, oh, and then you got movies like The Firm, where it's a John Grisham thriller. It became a movie, but they took a lot of blank from hell elements and put it into the movie. So it's basically the law firm from hell. So what are your favorites of the genre? Are you a fan of the genre in general? Do you think that it's a genre that could use some more examples of it, more things? I guess you would say Wild Things or The Students from Hell, or, as the whole plot kind of, you'll see as the movie goes on, authority figures from hell, at the school. I guess I'm stretching it a little bit on this, but I wanted to cover as much ground as possible. I guess The Abusive Husband from Hell, which is a little bit repetitive, and that's Sleeping with the Enemy. That was one of the more successful examples of the genre. Hand That Rocks the Cradle and Sleeping with the Enemy are the two thrillers that have sold the most tickets. Obviously Fatal Attraction as well. But they sold a lot of tickets. And I guess this from hell genre kind of started maybe getting part of the public consciousness with Dressed to Kill, and Body Double and Blowout aren't as really as from hell thrillers, but more like Dressed to Kill. So anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed this, and just a brief little discussion about some blank from hell thrillers. What are your favorite blank from hell thrillers? I think probably Hand That Rocks the Cradle. If you don't like it, go ahead and check it out. And if you don't like it, then I don't know what's wrong, because it's a pretty damn good movie. I'd love to see Tom Cruise in a blank from hell thriller. One I forgot to mention, Pacific Heights. There's a lot of others after I've forgotten to mention, but Pacific Heights I've talked about on this channel. And that's a fantastic blank from hell thriller. That's a tenant from hell. Single white female is a roommate from hell. So they've made about every kind of relationship you can have. Maybe the grocer from hell or the waiter from hell. That necessarily hasn't happened just yet, but that would be kind of interesting. The Old Friend from Hell, a really unique movie the last couple of years called The Gift, starred Rebecca Hall, Joel Edgerton, and Jason Bateman. Highly recommend that one too. More of a slow burn, not as much a big events in that, but definitely a good blank from hell thriller. Seems like a good blank from hell thriller is coming out in the next couple of weeks. I don't know if it'll be good or not, so sorry about that. But two African American people are married, and then Dennis Quaid is the intruder. So he's basically the person down on his luck from hell. The guy prowling around outside your house looking for food, but he's actually from hell. What's another one? Lakeview Terrace, directed by Neil LaBute, I find to be a very underrated blank from hell thriller. That stars Samuel L. Jackson, Patrick Wilson, and Kerry Washington, actually. So go ahead and let me know which blank from hell thrillers are some of your favorite. Are there a blank from hell thriller that you'd like to see that hasn't been made yet? Are there some that you'd like to see rebooted? One of the earlier blank from hell thrillers that I've seen, other than what I mentioned was A Kiss Before Dying, is one called Leave Her to Heaven. And Alicia Malone, who I used to work with and socialize with quite a lot, she's a big fan of that movie as well. So go ahead and check out some of her coverage of that movie, because I think she did a good job. And it's a really good movie. Leave Her to Heaven, starring Gene Tierney? I seem to forget her name, but Gene Tierney, I believe. Or Gene Crane. Is Gene Tierney? Yeah. Gene Crane or Gene Tierney? But yeah, really looking forward to doing some more of these videos. I'll probably do a commentary for one of my favorite Blank from Hell thrillers soon. Sea of Love, really good, underrated Blank from Hell thriller. Uh, it's a lot going on in that movie, so it's has some Blank from Hell thrillers, but elements, but also is a cop movie as well. Let's go ahead and check that one out sometime, and I'll try to sign on here and do a commentary a little bit later today. Hope everyone's doing well. Wanted to get to one of these Q&A questions as we close out the video, and I'll do more of a Q&A video later. And this is a Q&A question. So, what are the chances you think you're going to get a Horrible Bosses 3? And this is from Eli in Las Vegas. Well, Eli, thank you so much for the question. He also says he thinks Horrible Bosses 2 is incredibly overrated as well as Part 1. I agree with that, the entire assessment. In fact, I might even put Horrible Bosses on. I really do enjoy the movie. I really enjoyed Part 1. I think Part 2 is really good for the first hour, and then I think it kind of falls off the rails. But I would love to see a Part 3, even though I'm on streaming or even some kind of reboot in a way. I feel like they all kind of didn't like how Part 2 turned out, so they kind of sandbagged it. But yeah, Eli, I really appreciate the email and really looking forward to getting more of your emails. You got 13 more questions coming up on the Q&A. So I'm really excited when people send 13 questions. That's really cool. I have 15 other people that sent in questions today alone. Some of them have multiple questions. So I'll probably get to some more Q&A questions a little bit later as the day goes on. And looking forward to doing some more videos and stuff. So thanks so much, and glad